Hi, and welcome to the Unreality Corps. In this video, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Ronnie Renton, founder and CEO of MANTIC Games. Ronnie was once the managing director of Games Workshop, but back in 2008, he started MANTIC Games, initially by producing miniatures that could be used with all popular wargame systems. After this, they went on to produce Kings of War, Dwarf King's Hold, Dungeon Saga, Star Saga, Dreadball, Dead Zone, Project Pandora, Warpath, and Loka. MANTIC have also made licensed games for The Walking Dead, Mars Attacks, and lately Hellboy. Now, because of the time difference between the US and the UK, it's getting pretty late there, so I'm going to jump right in and welcome Ronnie to the show and ask, what inspired you to create MANTIC after leaving Games Workshop?
I think the early years, there was a desire and a vision about where we wanted to go, what we wanted to create, but being able to do that, it made you realize, actually, Nation Who Shall Not Be Made had done a pretty good job first time around of building something pretty special. And it was going to take a while to even be in the same stratosphere as them, never mind the same boxing ring. So, the first years, they were exciting, they were challenging, I think we were innovative, we made a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, they were tough. They were hard. It was hard yards.
All right. So, from the young man who showed up at a games day dressed as a barbarian.
There you go.
Not a D20. Cosplay there. Right. But that shows that adventurous spirit. I mean, that's an all-in move.
and I think I used we used to go to Spain, and my dad would buy me, metal swords. They were kind of fake replica, but they were real metal-like things, and bath towels. So I think I turned up through the barbarian in bath towels and a big gold sword. So everyone kind of says, "Oh, you turned up to D20," and I was like, "No, what I actually did was far more embarrassing than that." So there was no photographs at the time. So if you can't prove it, my lawyers will be speaking to you.
Hey, this is all hearsay at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. He heard it and she said it. So.
Nice. So, one of the other questions is, how do you explain the person who is Ronnie Renton? Because we have an image of you.
Okay.
All right. And it's a very flattering image.
Perfect. I'll take that. Exactly what you think. That's what I am. We'll bang that and move on.
But as the leader of a successful company, taking it from that how many was it? Was it 2 games you kicked out of the car, or what was it? Just the one.
With the what? Sorry.
What was the first game that you produced?
Yeah, so we were supposed to be a miniatures company. That was we were just going to do the minis, just like go along with everyone else's games. Like just be, and then I kind of chatted to Alessio Carvatore, and we were worried about getting sued for like making miniatures for other people's games, because at the time GW's legal department was quite vociferous. And Alessio, of course, had written the last version of 40K, the last version of Warhammer. The difference was that in the early 90s, 40K very much went from a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 to a 2.0. Rick rewrote it. And if you look at the difference between a Rogue Trader and the 1994 version of 40K, maybe 96, they're not the same game. By this point, Rick knew what he was doing. He wrote a really solid rule set that was far more fluid. But Warhammer never, ever got rewritten. It never got the full 2nd edition.
Okay.
So Alessio somehow, when he left and we started speaking, I said, look, my passion prior to fantasy gaming was Napoleonics. I loved the colors. I loved the cavalry, the cannons, the things. The only reason I liked fantasy more was you got all of those things and you got dragons. and you got trolls, and you got dwarves, obviously,
Yes.
best of all. So you got all of the colour and the majesty of the Napoleonic era, and then some, you know, and then more and more and more. But fundamentally, it's kind of that period of gaming. There's cannons, there's, you know, war machines, cavalry, infantry. And so I was trying to describe the types of armies that I wanted to build. And Alessio said, I've got a game that I want to write. You know, I know the rule set. And from that, Kings of War was born. And it was, I think, the elegance and the cleanliness of Kings of War is what marks it out. And that, you know, that's where it was a combination of my passion for large battles and Alessio's experience and desire for a clean game system. There's what brought it about. And then where did we go from there? Well, then actually we had these plastic sprues. So I got Jake Thornton, who was an ex-GW guy too, a talented guy, good writer. And I said, right, here's the rules. You've got these plastic sprues. You can have 2 sheets of card and 16 pages of rules. Make me a game. And from there was Dwarf King's Quest he made, and then Project Pandora.
Yes.
And it started from there, you know, and then slowly you just realized that we were just kind of evolving and you know, we were on a kind of journey, and what we thought the rules weren't the rules, and everything just kept changing.
Okay. And we can somehow feel the fun in this creation, considering in basically your video presence, whenever you want to put anything online. Oh, we're not raising prices today. Bye. Click.
I think that's still our most viewed video. I think that one was still
that's the most.
And the guy that was on that video, Clive, he's like the most straight-laced. He's our logistics manager. He's running a warehouse. He's our logistics manager now. If you've bought anything on Kickstarter, he has watched it onto the boat, shipped it around the world, got it delivered. He's a straight-laced guy. He's not a gamer. He's just one of the rocks that we rely on. And I said, "You're on a video today, Clive." And he's like, "What? Are you say what now?" I said, "Yeah, it's video day for you. Come on, get out here." And I said, "If I do it, then I'm going to be taking a piss. Whereas if you come up and do it," I said, "you've got to stay straight face all the way through." And then today we will not be raising the prices. So,
today will not be raising the prices. That was beautiful. That was classic. Still look at it sometimes to get a good laugh out of that.
Yeah, that might be up there.
Now, do you realize the type of community that you put together?
I don't. I don't. I hope it is, but I don't know if it is. But yeah,
okay.
Please tell me.
Okay. So, in any event I've been to concerning any of your products, one, fantastic staff. That's what we always run into.
Yeah.
An open CEO who's not afraid to have a laugh. Rules for any system being played in which there's never really a banter period. I mean, there's talk, there's joking, there's all of that, but such a clean, honest rule set. When you say elegant, yes, your system is elegant. I travel to a tournament that's about 300 miles away every year. That's your game. That's Kings of Baltimore that they have over in Baltimore. Nice. And I'm in Ohio now, but but me and Dave Frank went to the last one went to one 2 years ago. Didn't go this year because of the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
I was planning on going this year, but no, I didn't have a vaccine yet, so I didn't have time.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, couldn't do it at that time. But you know, out of all the people I've met at Gen Con, at Origins, at several events, that if there is a Mantic event going on, it's possibly the most relaxing area I've ever been in.
We like that. We like that. I mean, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. What some people forget is this is what I'm humbled because this is what people choose to do with their time and their money. And you've got to enjoy it. We want you to enjoy it. That's my point. I'm supposed to be there to provide you an enjoyable time, a way of spending your evening. And during lockdown one, Rob, who runs our community, Rob Berman, great guy, lovely guy, very enthusiastic, and he and I were spending hours every day just talking. What can we do? What's responsible to do? And we just said, look, we're gonna release all of our rules online. Learn to play. Go get your models. Just download and have some time. And he got a lot of people to write some solo rules for us. And anything that we've been working on that was solo, we just put it out. So look, here you go. We're all at home. Because we're gonna have some Netflix and we do a bit of cooking and we'll do it. But actually, we enjoy our gaming, and that's what we want to do. And the one thing you're not going to be able to do for the next 3 months anywhere in the world is go gaming. You have to drive across to Baltimore and go gaming. And how do you do it? And so it was very funny because at the time The Walking Dead had tailed off. The kind of veneer of the TV series, and we did a bit of promotion, but we gave the rules up free. And what we realized was that at the time, partners or children, kids of gamers wouldn't play Kings of War because it's too much. It's too intense. You need your whole army. It's a whole day. It's, learning the rules. But they'd happily play Walking Dead. And the dad can go and do the painting to play the game with his kids at the weekend. And because you're at home, you're furloughed or you're working from home, you just get that hour a day that you normally commute. So those games did really well in that, and it doubles down to me, which is we're trying to make people enjoy spending time together. And if the most important thing is like what it says on line 3 of this paragraph of the rules, and it could mean this or it could mean that, we failed, because if you're arguing about that, we've not done our job. Our job is to make sure you turn up, you shake hands with a person, you have a great game, it's a close run thing, the dice, your skills, your armies all have an impact. But no one thing dominates, and certainly the rules definitely don't dominate. And some of the great things in Kings of War and tournaments, there's the tournament organizer and there's the rules person, and they're never called out.
No,
they just sit there and get drunk all weekend. Ryan Smith is very happy. He's like, I haven't been a rules guy.
With the sip.
How it should be. That's wonderful.
The most, let's see, when you brought up, the kids playing with your parents, because of you, I met the most brutal 12-year-old girl ever playing.
They take the cleaners.
Playing The Walking Dead versus her father. This was Larry Curtis's daughter. And he had just got The Walking Dead Kickstarter. We had all gone over to the guard tower. We had spread all the models out and we're playing. And next thing you know, this little girl is sitting up here, learn the rules, starts talking trash to her dad. And it's like, oh. So that's a game. That's how it goes.
So I've got my currently 13-year-old. We're about 11. We were playing. We always played The Walking Dead, and the first few times he was 9, 10 when we first came out, and we'd play it because he could get the movement and dice rolling, dice roll there, colored dice. I can pick them off in my cards, my weapon. Tot it up, it's nice. And then one of the later games was called Call to Arms, and this is where we moved a bit away from the narrative, and you're actually the army versus army. It's a bit more of a skirmish game. You can take the walkers down. In the early series, the walkers were the threat. In the late series, it was a little bit more that the other guys with their Uzis and submachine guns were the threat. Yep. Still, if you got overwhelmed, if the zombies got you in the corner, they could mess you up. But by and large, boom, 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 double tapping the zombies going through. And so we made it a bit more that, with still this other thing you had to factor in. And we set a game up. I think it could have been at the beginning of lockdown, or we were play testing it for final reading before print. And I set it all up. I spent the morning setting the battlefield up. That's kind of my vibe. And I've got all my minis. I usually play Rick because he wants to play Negan, or he wants to play the governor. He's like playing the bad guy. And I thought, right, I'll give him a couple of turns. just to get the familiar with the rules again and get on it. And then, I'll fully engage. But until then, I'll just mess around a bit. I won't do anything too aggressive. And, I go, he goes, I go, he goes. Da, 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 da. Before at the end of the first turn, he's done it. Oh, it's not too bad. It's not too serious. By the end of the second turn, halfway through the second turn, I realized I'm in trouble here. I mean, I'm in serious trouble. He's just pushed straight up. He's taken this guy down. He's thrown him in. He's rolled the dice. Boom. He smashed me. And then I started to go, well, I'm just going to start reading these special rules. And by the third turn, I realized I was going to get my ass handed to me on a plate. I'd been taken to the cleaners. Absolutely. Wasn't even close. And there was nothing I could do about it. And he just waltzed in, kicked my ass, got to the end of the game. He said, thanks, Dad. That was great fun. You cleaning this up? I'm off now. I'm going to play. Okay.
Yes.
Did me like
out the inventor of the game. Awesome. Yeah. All right.
Done.
So
sounds good. The next generation coming through.
Yes. So over the years, you have produced about 13 titled items, which include my big list here. A sci-fi universe and a fantasy universe encompassing 2 board games, 2 squad level skirmish games, 2 regiment level war games, a sci-fi sports game, a fleet-based ship game, a terrain line for any tabletop environment, an entire miniature line supporting every game that you make, and a new product. What is it? Every week, every month, you're kicking out something?
Yeah.
I mean,
that probably explains all this gray hair, I think.
Yeah. And soon to be released role-playing game.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been busy. I think we've been
really have.
We've been prolific.
And
I mean, I don't know what to say. I think the quality has been there. We've not always got it right, but the first version to the second version, there it is. Look at that, a bit of Vanguard. Oh, those goblins, they're nice figures, those.
Beautiful.
I love some Vanguard.
This is a beautiful line.
Yeah.
As well as Dark Book, where are you?
Did you get Mars Attacks in there? Did you get 3 licensed products? Look at that.
This is one of the best skirmish games I've ever played in my 30 years of gaming.
Brilliant. Well, I'll pass that on because we love Vanguard. I think we've got some really interesting plans. We spent the whole of yesterday talking about Vanguard and how we can make it better, because that's one of the ones I was saying. It's a very good first version, but I think when you see Vanguard 2.0, it will blow your mind. Okay. Because when you get the core and then you refine those engines, and I don't know if you ever played Dead Zone, but Dead Zone 1 was good. There's some great things in it. There's a couple of clunky things in it. Dead Zone 2.0. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful sci-fi game. I think the interaction between the minis and the terrain is just fantastic. I think the cleanliness and the elegance of the rule set is all there. And I think Vanguard 2.0, if you like it now, just wait to see what's coming, because it's going to blow your mind.
Nice.
Going to move it on again.
Now, the thing responsible for me having 5 full 2,300 point armies.
Good. Excellent.
This thing here.
That's nice. We like a bit of Kings of War.
I want to know why you haven't touched back on the historicals yet, because Vanguard is just open for that.
Okay, yeah.
As well as that. And I do own the historicals book.
Yeah, that was a nice book. And it was a little bit of a, because there is a desire for us to do it again. I think people love the speed of the rules. I think they realize we're not trying to be accurate. I think there's 600 years of Romans in one army list, right. that cavalry never felt with those infantry, because there was 300, 400 years between them. But people go, I don't care. I just want to actually play huge battles, huge. And if you really care about that, you say, right, we're only picking Romans from this era, and we're going to fight against those from that era. And if they know enough that they can balance it, can make it accurate, they'll make it accurate. But what it gives you is a speed of rule set that no other game gets even close to.
Right.
You can set up a 10,000 point Romans versus Celts army, and you will have started and you'll have finished in 4 hours.
I bet you 80 minutes.
Yeah. But if you
I can bet you 80 minutes. I bet you 80 minutes that we can finish the game and still have the excitement and still have the beer after and still talk about the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely part of the journey, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, we will dip in that kind of like reading the historical rules. We've just got so many great things we need to support. I mean, Armada's been a huge commitment for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. I think just fresh feeling. The quality of the resin's been absolutely spot on. It was a big project. It reared up, I'll tell you that. Our forecast numbers versus what we ended up selling, called us out. And they were hand cast. They weren't coming in plastic, 3/4 done. These were every single one hand cast. So a doubling of quantity was a doubling of workload.
Wow.
Absolutely binary as that. So, we and doing it at a time when we had to, be socially distancing. And so, we had 2 teams, a morning team and an afternoon team, and they weren't allowed to meet. And we cleaned down the whole room between each group because we couldn't lose one of them, but we sure as heck couldn't lose both of them. So for 2 weeks, while they were quarantining.
Nice. Now,
so yeah, there we go. We've been busy. We've kept ourselves going 10 years.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate people going out there and enjoying them. And interestingly, I think the 2 things one of the things is that some people love our sci-fi, some people love our board games, some people like our licensing games, some people like our King's War. Some like them all. But those that like this game or that game, what we increasingly find is they all quite like Mantic. There's a Mantic vibe about what we do. While you may play 40K, but Kings of War or Vanguard and or Dead Zone and some other game, the people that play Dead Zone vibe well with the people who play Vanguard, that play Kings of War, because it's that kind of culture and that kind of vibe of the rules. I look at some games and I go, yeah, I can see. Steampunk is one that I look at. I go, I can see why it's cool, but I don't like it. I don't want to paint it. I don't want to paint those kind of minis. I want to play fancy minis. I want to do this kind of. But the people that like our different games still kind of get on, because there's a design aesthetic between all of what we do that has a resonance with people.
Okay. Now, customer service. What is your rule as far as customer service is concerned?
Just put it right. If we've got it wrong, put it right. And Elvis does that. Elvis is brilliant. Even sometimes I'm like, you did what? Well, Elvis, you're right. He just sorts it out. He just makes it not only go away, but he makes it go away with people saying, wow, they screwed up, they owned it, and they put it right.
Well, sometimes I think you overcompensate, but I enjoy it. Being on the receiving end.
That's like, you did what? Oh well, you know what? Maybe next time we've got a Kickstarter, they'll remember that and they'll back us. So,
but
forward.
It's been exemplary.
Yeah, no, Elvis has absolutely owned that space. It's been great, and it's. I know I want it to be, but then finding someone that just does it and does it right is hard. And we went through a few, and we ran some of the Kickstarters when it's coming in from China wrong, and we're sending it out, we're rushing to get it out. No, we don't do that anymore. But at Elvis, then, when you're packing the amount of different complicated bits that we're doing, the thing is, if you've bought that set and you need that arm or you need that chair, that's what you need. That's what you paid for. That's what you got to get. And we'll get it to you.
Mm-hmm. And for helping out the role players with terrain crates.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant idea.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's good fun. It came about because when we made Dungeon Saga, I don't remember the Dungeon Saga game, there was the terrain, there was the doors. But I looked at them, I said, well, these doors are cool and this terrain's cool. So let's just put 2 packs out called, Dungeon Saga Terrain and Dungeon Saga Doors. And what was weird is they were selling like 1 for 1 for the games. And I saw a few videos where people walked in and assumed they'd get it in plastic, in cardboard, and therefore they bought those as upgrades. But after a few weeks, when every video said, hey, you don't need to buy these aren't in card in the game and you must buy them to upgrade them, they're in the game. I firstly realized I was an idiot and I should have just put a card sheet in and then I could have made more money off everybody. So that's where when I talk about being a clever businessman, I'm clearly stupid. But secondly, there was no reason for people to keep buying this because to play Dungeon Saga, you didn't need it, you had it. And then when The Walking Dead came out and the terrain set, the cars and the barricades just sold like crazy, I realized, you know what? People want terrain, And I think MDF does buildings really well.
Right.
Make a building, but it's characterless. And then when you get a sheet of MDF that says, right, now let's start building a wardrobe. You think, well, the wardrobe is 4 pieces more than the bloody house was. And I've still got a table and 4 chairs, and no, I'm not doing it. Piss off, bugger off. No, I'm not doing it. So that piece of MDF just goes onto the back of your painting table. You think, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Whereas if you can buy, 15 quid, 20 bucks, and here's all the decorations for your house. Here's a bed. Here's a wardrobe.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'll do that. Here's the computer screens. Here's the doors. Yes, I'm doing that.
Yes.
And so that's what it does. I think what it does is it continues the immersion in the vision that you have for your gaming team.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah, from the role playing through to wargaming, it just does it, and it just adds. We have these beautifully painted armies. You spent ages collecting them, and then you're going to play on some shitty scenery made out of like toilet rolls and trees that you got from the pound store and some deodorant bottle that you sprayed up to look like a. No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I want my terrain something like the same quality as my miniatures, if you don't mind.
If you don't mind. If you don't mind. That's awesome. The licensed products that you have, the media licensed products, Walking Dead, Hellboy, Mars Attacks. Is there anything else coming? Anything else you're working on at this time?
Yep. And the next month we've got the ending of the Hellboy storyline. If you remember the graphic novels, the core graphic novels started with kind of Hellboy being born, ran through Wild Hunt, and ended up in the Storm and the Fury.
Right.
So we're going to do the last expansion, and we're going to take that to Kickstarter. Actually, I think it's a Kickstarter product. So you're going to get the Nimue with her in dragon form, cool new Hellboy, the end of the journey, the end of the story. At the same time, people then at this point have a great collection of really great background, a huge storyline. And as you know, there's hundreds of them. BPRD books, there's all of the Abe books. It's a beautiful universe to game in. And we've hinted at this a bit, but you're going to get the BPRD agents expansion, different monsters. So you can now play as a role play game. I mean, you've actually got the full role play, but you can play the board game role play crossover. You can do infinite adventures. You can do a high level, mid level. So that's all going to kind of come as a Kickstarter. And we're also going to have our game of
Uh-oh. Toys, folks.
I'm back. You're going to get the Hellboy definitely not drinking dice game.
Did you say definitely not drinking dice game?
Definitely not drinking dice game. So But if you drink with it, that's fine. But if you definitely don't, so yeah, you go through you basically draw off the top. Let me see if I get a good card. Here we go. Here's a card. So I'll just get it in for you. There's the clues. So when you defeated the card, you get that many clues. There's one clue. There's a 2 clue.
Oh wow, Magnolia art.
Yeah, or on every card. That's the thing. That's what it takes to defeat it. So it's a 2. So that's a 2.
Correct.
So you need to roll more than 2 hits, and that's what happens to you if you don't. When you've got 3 of those, you're dead.
Oh wow.
And so what you have to do is you get the stack of cards, the stack of dice, and so you can see that was a 2. So I have to pick how many dice I'm going to roll to make sure I get at least 2 hits. And as long as I get more than 2, then I get the card, so I get a clue. But if I get less, then I get 2 wounds.
You get hurt. Okay.
So it's kind of got everything you want. It's a can of war game. And then if I use a couple of dice, they're now out of my pool and they go to the person next to me. And then the next card comes out, and I use those. So it's got a really simple mechanic, very elegant again, very lovely. But we've just kind of combined the best of a card game with the best of a dice game to kind of make our own dungeon crawler war game. And that's your kind of freebie. If you back the Kickstarter, you're going to get your own Hellboy dice card not drinking game.
Bonus. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big scoop. And we are working on other things, but as with licenses, until they're signed, until they're actually scheduled, you can't talk about them. But of course, we'll do one every couple of years. We're Armada, Vanguard, Kings of War, Dead Zone. That's kind of what we love. But occasionally a license comes along and we go, well, we really love that. We really get excited about that. We did it with Hellboy. We did it with The Walking Dead. My minis are over there. I still think it's a beautiful game. We're still supporting it now. 5 years after launch.
And the sculpts for Hellboy and the sculpts for Walking Dead are absolutely amazing. Bringing the actual comics to life. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think the guys did a superb job. A couple of studios on that one, and they were just superb. And we had a very clear vision. When I first sculpted Rick, it was a lot smaller than where we ended up going. I said, no, just bulk them out a bit, really give them character. They don't need to be super skinny. They need to have that comic book feel. And I think that's then set a template for the size and scale of the stuff we do in that kind of board game scale.
Okay. Now, this question has come up. The advent of the 3D printer.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is that there's been an explosion of people buying resin printers to print their own models, and they're doing things like joining these online sculptors, and they become part of a club. Like there's one called Loot Studios.
Yeah, and Patreon. And
yep, Loot Studios has about 3,800 subscribers to it for about $15 a month.
Oh wow!
So right now they're bringing in something like about almost $85,000 a month on just giving out STLs. And of course, we who bought these 3D printers, we don't have the skill to sculpt, but hey, this looks cool. I'm going to go ahead and download it and do it. Now, how do you think this will have any effect on Mantic, or does Mantic have a plan?
I was saying about me being a real dumbass businessman. I probably should have seen this coming, and we'll have to see. I think, is it going to change it? Yes, but I don't know how. I mean, I think, are you genuinely going to print 40 zombies to make a regiment?
No, because it takes a long time to do it.
Yeah, and therefore, we just bought a big ass machine because we're trying to just speed up our time from sculpt to print to resin, and we've had it a month. It's bloody expensive, And they told me it was one click and all that. Just press a button and all the bridges would build themselves. And guess what? It's a month later, 3 months later, and I've still not got a complete sculpt off it. And I'm still. And so I think scenery, big, nice, interesting piece of scenery. I've seen people printing those where it's big, but it's relatively simple. And you'll paint it and put some flock on it and it looks great. Yeah, I can get that. I could get a bad pad where you're picking out, individualizing your role play characters. You know, I could pick out one of the guys in the warehouse a couple of years ago started making a ogre army, and his partner had got him a 3D printer, and he went on and he printed all of his heroes out for his army, and they looked fantastic. They weren't exactly the same sculpts. They weren't obviously Mantic ogres, but they were ogres, and they were characterful. And he printed them out because that was kind of his hobby at the time, 3D printing. And he painted them in the same, and when you put them out, it just looked great, absolutely phenomenal, great hobby, good fun. But and he still prints stuff out, but it's more of an alternative hobby than actually using it to not buy toy soldiers.
Correct.
I think it's complementary. I think it goes with. I think it's a threat. I think it's a risk. I think there may come a day when people don't want it because the technology might be so slick that you just go tap, 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 buy. But the talent will be, if you want to play Kings of War, you'll need the Kings of War army. And if that's the only way we make money is, I'm just not telling anyone what the models are going to look like and the rules look like until you print them off. And the only be able to get them off us. I think you want to play our games at some point. We can't live on the games. You have to sell your models, but buying them in a box, gluing them together and clipping them together is part of our hobby.
And it's
you don't mind printing the odd hero, but do you really want to? So I don't know. I think it's a genuinely good question. I think it will affect our industry for sure. How? I don't know. I think it's great that there's sculptors out there providing interesting, unique stuff to gamers to tap into. And it's a great way, and I think a template of how the world is going to change. It's not got our hobby. But we'll have to wait and see what it's going to do for Mantic.
Well, from my point of view, I own one, but there's very few talents out there that can produce a likable model.
Yep.
Okay. I just pulled up this Goblin box set. I haven't found anything like that.
Yeah.
In STL form.
And it's got a theme and it's got a purpose. You're playing Vanguard with it. That's what I do. And I can look at my Kings of War army, and there's a kind of complete infrastructure for the purchase you're making. And that's why this guy went on, he was building an ogre army, and he added to it, and the whole was better than the sum of the parts. But individually, these were quite quirky miniatures that weren't quite the right design aesthetic for other games.
Awesome. But if you ever want to sell STLs, there are people who will grab them.
Okay, well, remember that. We'll bear that in mind.
If you ever want to do that, there are people out there who go nuts.
I'll arrive 5 years late and realize that the horse is not just in the other field, it's like 3 counties away.
Awesome. So events, they were kind of low over the past year.
Yeah.
And about your event support services, I have found them to be so encompassing and so giving. And what is your plan for event supports?
Well, just keep doing it. I mean, so we're running a campaign now. It's called Get Back Gaming, which is, each country's coming out of lockdown differently, and everyone's allowing different things. And it's not right for someone here to judge someone over there. So everyone's going to do it at your own pace. I think people have to feel it themselves, what they feel comfortable with after a year of lockdown. But what we've got to start to do is say every game system is going to get some love and care and attention. So I picked up Armada, and late April, it's going to be, I don't know the quite title is, but it's going to be like learn Armada with the idiot Renton, right? And it's like, we've got these fleets. I've painted 2 of them. I'm super excited for. I've been trapped in the house for 6 months, and I want to play. And normally, if you're going to have a demo of a new release game, you'd go down to your gaming store, you'd go to your gaming club, and someone would have it, and you'd kind of stand there for an hour and watch. That's not happened. This game's come out. It looks fantastic. No one's seen it played. Not many have actually played it.
Right.
And so my worry is that this fantastic, beautiful, sexy-looking ship game, there's like nothing else that's out there right now, will just get missed out because it, you know, during the enthusiasm of the buying, we're in lockdown, and when you get back gaming, you don't quite know how to play, and no one's playing, and they've gone back to the other games they were playing, so it doesn't get some airtime, and that'd be a terrible crying shame because lovely. So I'm going to say, look, join me online. I'm going to have a beer, and we're going to sit here, and I'm going to go because I don't read rule books. People demo it for me, you know, and they explain it to me, and I said, well, how does that work? And having been in the industry 30 years, I know what a good game is, what a slick game is. And so you can ask, but I know it's a lovely game. I've seen it played, but I haven't had a chance to learn to play. And I think lots of people want the demo. So I'm going to say, look, join us, 8 p.m., Tuesday, the something of April. I'm going to have it set up, and I know nothing, and I'm not going to read the rule book. I'm going to be with Clive, and Clive is going to tell me, like a demo as if you're in a store. And we're all going to hang around, and we're going to learn to play this game. Move your thingies, roll your dice. This is what the card means. What does that mean? And then 5 minutes later, remind me again what that means, because I've already forgotten, you know? So yeah, let's get back gaming. The HQ's going to get some, cleaned up and a paint. It's been closed for a year, so we're going to open the HQ store. But also we're going to do our online events. Now they're going to be online. And our open days used to be, if you were there, there'll be a bit of that. But if we're doing a MANTIC open day, it's going to be some online and some offline, not just offline, because we have more attendees at our offline events, at our online events last year than we have, unless you live within 10 miles of us or 100 miles of us. You guys and your crowd can't come to the MANTIC open day right now. You might come to MANTIC night at Identicon, but actually if we put it online, everybody can come. And you can hang around and chit chat and play the not drinking game of Hellboy.
Or drink their wine in front of their phone. That's awesome.
The interview must be nearly over because my wine is about to
because the wine's about to go. Okay.
That's the hour clock that we've done. When the wine glass is empty, the interview is over. Last question.
We're done. No more alcohol. Well, I really appreciate the person that you are, Mr. Renton, and wanting to give us the time. And I really appreciate your excitement and and your drive. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. I hope you get hold of Invincible.
Oh yeah, well I know those guys. Yeah,
you know those guys.
Yeah, I know those guys. I think if I just go over here, I think I've got Invincible number 2 right here.
Going to the closet. We're about to see something cool. Hold on. Yes, that comic ended its run in 2018. I had followed it from issue 1 to its final book. It is possibly the greatest comic you will ever read.
Go out and read it. I loved it. I wrote me and my son Ray once about it. We read it through. It's great read, actually, really good read. So it's coming on not Netflix, Amazon Prime, isn't it?
Amazon Prime tomorrow.
Oh, is it tomorrow? Okay, great. Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend then.
Oh yes, definitely. And if you ever get a chance, watch Resident Alien, as well as.
Yeah, I really fancy that. It looks really good. That looks good. I quite fancy that. That's almost like a doctor out in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen that. I want to watch that.
Resident Alien, Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 2 is tomorrow, as well
I've heard that's very good as well. Ron Berman came and told me that was good because I really was like,
it's nice.
These are like weak characters to me, and he came in. He said WandaVision was good. This was excellent. I was like, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good you have a yardstick around. That's awesome.
Oh, that's all I do. It's like consuming.
And be prepared for your 4 hours of Justice League. I've seen it twice. It's nice.
Okay, so how good is it? So my son, Rafe, I've been telling you about, has been like, it's got 97% and critics chose Rotten Tomatoes. And then Rob, the other one, who was telling me the Winter Soldier was good, said he was struggling with it. So the first 40 minutes, he did it one night. He didn't. He was struggling, but he'd been told it gets better. So that's what I was really looking. I wasn't happy with Justice League. I didn't think it was good enough, and then I heard this coming. I think, okay, well, this could be the Justice League that I've always, wanted to read, and then got some things. You reckon it's good? You reckon that's going to pass muster? You've seen it twice?
Yes, you will enjoy it. They give you a complete movie.
No, I'm looking forward to that because I fell asleep during the last one twice. So,
but of course, bring something to eat, bring something to drink.
Yeah, exactly. When you finish drinking it, something to drain into.
It's 4 hours. That's half life of any medicine you're taking. But, but you will enjoy it immensely. All right.
Great.
So I'm gonna let you get back. So I'm gonna let you get back to your life because right now it's about 10 p.m. over there. And I'm glad that you found the time to come in and speak with us.
No, thank you. Thanks for making the time. I really appreciate it. So I was a little bit late getting on here, but you accommodated me. I really appreciate that. And great to talk to you, Alan.
All right, great to talk to you. We'll have everything. We'll have all copy in post-production, which will show up on the video. And keep your eyes open. This might turn into something. Yay!
Yeah. Look after yourself, and then I'm going to see a Gen Con hopefully, or will be a Gen Con or a Adepticon, or
my plan is to basically hit every convention that's possible.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I will for sure be a Gen Con. I'm going to get my second vaccine soon, so I'm be fully vaccinated soon. So as soon as the US opens its doors, I will be on the first plane over there. So,
okay, not to get pizza. Not to get pizza, to come play.
Yeah, correct. Okay. I'll certainly come talk and drink a few beers, but
I can do that.
Gaming. So yeah, great. Well, I look forward to seeing you, buddy.
Okay, look forward to you. Love to you and your family, and thanks for being on the Unreality Core.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's all for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. In the future, we plan on doing videos, reviewing gaming and hobby products, how-to videos, and to continue to bring you interviews with the people who drive the hobby gaming industry. I'd like to again thank Ronnie for taking the time to give us this interview. We had a really good time and hopefully got you, our viewers, a better insight into what Mantic is all about. I'd also like to thank you, our viewers, for watching this video. If there's anything you'd like to see us do, drop us a comment. I'm Alan Blunt, and you've been watching the Unreality Core.